Welcome. On behalf of the University of Southern Mississippi School of Nursing Professional Practice, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Tennant, and I'm the Director of the School of Professional Nursing Practice. I want to welcome all those who will be watching online. I know this constitutes a large gathering of family and friends who have cheered you on and are here to celebrate tonight with you. You will notice that our stage seems very bare tonight. Due to COVID restrictions, we are only allowed to have 10 people in the building at one time. In order to protect the safety of our faculty and students, we are maintaining masking at all times and social distancing. Dr. Tennant, you don't have your mask on. You're correct. I will be speaking without a mask because I am situated more than 6 feet from the students and faculty. I, along with our administrators, faculty, and staff, are very excited to recognize our December 2020 graduates this evening in this recognition and pinning ceremony. We are finally here. Who could have imagined last January that you would graduate in the middle of a pandemic? The history books will write of this, but they will not really be able to capture your experiences. You overcame many obstacles and struggles to be here tonight, pivoting to an online learning environment, losing valuable clinical hours last semester, learning multiple online platforms, and I am sure to some degree feeling isolated from your faculty, family, and friends, and the list could go on. Of note, in Mississippi, we are experiencing the highest numbers of positive COVID patients since this pandemic began, with 2,457 people testing positive and 15 new deaths as of yesterday. Our healthcare providers and our hospitals are stretched to capacity. Now you may wonder why I mention such distressing news during such a happy occasion as our recognition and pinning ceremony. I think it is important and appropriate to acknowledge what our graduates will be facing in the next few weeks. Some have even called it a war zone. They are aware of this information. They are aware of the risk. They are aware of the healthcare providers who have died due to COVID, and yet they have answered the call to enter the profession of nursing. This is essentially equivalent to running into a burning building to save lives. They will be challenged as never before as they take their rightful place among nurses, the heroes of our generation. However, we know our graduates are up to the task and will make us proud as they use their knowledge, commitment to nursing and caring to ensure safe, quality health care for their patients. Some positive firsts to mention for this class were the reinstitution of our use of a preceptor model. Our students were able to participate in a preceptorship which allowed them to work one-on-one with a practicing nurse. The overwhelming response by our students was positive. It was also positive from the facilities that these students worked in. As a matter of fact, quite a few of our students received job offers from where they worked. This is our first face-to-face recognition pinning ceremony since the pandemic began. We are live streaming our recognition and pinning ceremony for the first time. You did it. We are here to celebrate, to recognize all the hard work you've accomplished over the last 4 years. The modern ceremony of pinning and recognition dates back to the 1860s when Florence Nightingale, who we refer to as the founder of nursing, was awarded the Red Cross of St. George for recognition for her service in the Crimean War. By 1916, it was a standard practice for the initiation of new nurses into the profession. I want to tell you a little bit about our pen. We have a very unique pen. Sister Harkins, who was the initial dean for at the time, School of Nursing, asked the senior students in the first class to design their pen. With their input, the present pen was selected. A black stone for dignity. We have at the time there was a guard for the BS to clearly distinguish USN from a diploma or ADN. Sister said in her oral history she wanted a unique shape with the black stone that others could, and I quote, see across the room. Most badges for nursing schools were round at the time, and the letters of USN were placed in the center of the stone instead of a symbol. Other institutions were using the lamp or other symbols of nursing, but she believed it would convey higher education instead of a cross or lamp, which were common to other nursing pins. For our faculty, this is a sacred moment in which we pass the torch to the next generation. I would like to take this time to recognize the faculty that helped you in this journey. And I want you to know that if they could be here, they would. They were kind of fighting over who could be here when we had a smaller number, but when I realized that it was going to be very cold, I didn't want our students waiting outside, so I had to cut some of the faculty. So it's not because they didn't want to be here, but COVID has impacted all of us. On stage with me are Mrs. Kim Smith, the Assistant Director, Mrs. Maria Brown, BSN Program Coordinator and Class Advisor, Mrs. Loretta Burns, Class Advisor. Those who are attending online and cheering you on, Mrs. Tanya Boyd, Dr. Cynthia Chatham, Dr. Lisa Green, Mrs. Alicia Hollis, Dr. Elizabeth Pullman, Dr. Kathy Hughes, Dr. Kathy Masters, Mrs. Lindley Morgan, Mrs. Heather Morris, Dr. Rebecca Newton, Dr. Marion Patty, Mrs. Susan Rayner, Mrs. Jill Rushing, Mrs. Kathy Smith, Mrs. Michelle Topher, Mrs. Mayonette Watson, and Mrs. Lynn Whitehead. Normally we would say, let's all clap and congratulate. I hope that you will do that in the presence of your home. I also want to take this time, this pinning ceremony can't happen without a lot of people helping. I want to thank Holly Cook, my administrative assistant, Terry Whittington, Mandy Tang Hobbs, and our graduate assistants who dutifully fix the pins, fix the packets, arrange for flowers, arrange for the building, for live streaming. I also want to take this time to thank Mrs. Cindy Sheffield. And while faculty, family, and friends may not know who she is, our students do. She has been a rock. I want you to know that Mrs. Sheffield will be retiring in December. She will be greatly missed. I want to thank Andrew Dorman and Robert Corey for assisting us in the ability to live stream. We must all think outside of the box in these harrowing times. I will now read the descriptions of the awards that our students are receiving tonight. The College of Nursing and Health Professions and the National Dean's List Office award the National Dean's List Award to students who excel in their class. This award is given to BSN students in the top 10% of their class based on highest overall GPA. The National Collegiate Nursing Award is a U.S. Achievement Academy Award given to students who excel in class and who demonstrate outstanding citizenship and leadership. The Elizabeth C. Harkins Award is named after the founder of the University of Southern Mississippi nursing program, Sister Elizabeth C. Harkins. This award recognizes students who have demonstrated outstanding nursing scholarship and have maintained the highest GPA. The Bates Sizemore Excellence in Maternal Child Nursing Award is given in honor of the professors Lucy Bates and Mary Sizemore and the recognition of their years of outstanding service in promoting maternal and child health. Just a little tidbit, recently Dr. Bates and her nursing class had a reunion here and they were so excited, this was before COVID, and they were so excited to come back and see how the building had changed. They shared with me that they were in trailers when they were in training here. The Nursing Eagle Award is presented to a student nominated by classmates who demonstrates an awareness of professional and social responsibilities, has leadership qualities, and makes significant contributions to community service, student organizations, and class activities. The Jerry Lobby Morgan Award is named in honor of Dr. Jerry Lobby Morgan, a former dean of the College of Nursing and Health Professions. The award is presented to a student who is academically talented and a non-traditional student with a GPA of 3.25 or higher, or greater on all coursework for the nursing program. Well, we've gotten that all out of the way, and now here's what you really wanted to watch live stream for. So it is now time to present the December 2020 nursing graduates for recognition and pinning. I will begin with Gage Schweitzer, who is the president, who has prepared some remarks for this evening. I will put my mask on and step back.
Hello, my name is Gage Switzer. On behalf of the class, I would like to thank the professors and administrators that made this pinning ceremony possible. Although our friends and family are unable to share this moment with us in person, we are still overjoyed to celebrate our success and hard work that led us to this ceremony. Congratulations to the graduating class of 2020, we did it. Despite all of the trials and tribulations we've overcome in the last 2 years, we can all agree that continuing our education during the pandemic has been the most challenging yet rewarding. I am confident that if we could conquer our studies and passions during this confusing time, then we'll be able to conquer anything we might be faced with in the future. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge all of the first-line responders, including our fellow nurses, who have made sacrifices over the past few months during this pandemic. Graduates, we have huge shoes to fill, and I have no doubt we will just do that. The faculty, our classmates, and friends and family could not be any prouder. The last 2 years may have been the most challenging times of our lives so far, and sometimes we forget how capable we are. So acknowledge those acts of greatness. You are making a difference every day, no matter how big or small the impact. As Maya Angelou said, as a nurse, we have the opportunity to heal the heart, mind, soul, and body of our patients, their families, and ourselves. They may forget your name, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Nurses have a unique perspective and understanding of how precious life is. We will be the light in their lives during times of darkness. We will bring hope when all is lost. Believe in your ability to create change. We are the new generation of nurses, so shine on. Thank you.
Give me 1 second. So I'm going to take off my mask again. I want you to know this is what your students had to wear this semester. They had to double mask, they had to wear goggles, and we did it to protect them. But it is not fun to walk around in double mask and goggles. It's hard because we cannot see because our goggles fog up. So that was just one of the small challenges that they had as they adjusted. Next, we have Skylar Trosclair, and she is the Vice President. Next, we have Carly Williams. She is the class secretary. She also is receiving the National Dean's List Award, and she was inducted into Sigma Theta Tau, which I neglected, and as the president of our chapter, that was kind of bad. Sigma Theta Tau is the International Honor Society for baccalaureate and higher. You have to be in the top 1/3 of your class to be invited to participate. Bailey Norman is next, and Bailey was the treasurer for the class. Next, we have Haley Godwin. She was a class representative, and she was also inducted into Sigma Theta Tau International. Next, we have Woodson Lott. She is a class representative. Next, we have Danielle Bailey, and she was awarded the Nursing Eagle Award. She receives a plaque for earning the Nursing Eagle Award. Next, we have Lindsay Brownlee. Next, we have Sydney Brannon. Next, we have Annabeth Breeden, who was also inducted into Sigma Theta Tau International. Next, we have Olivia Buckman. Next, we have Madison Caldwell, who was also inducted into Sigma Theta Tau International. I'm sorry, Madison. Next, we have Darius Carter. Next, we have Aisha Cook, who won the National Dean's List Award and was inducted into Sigma Theta Tau International. Next, we have Caitlin Cook. So it looks like we're a little ahead of schedule. We had to, for those of you that may not know, we asked our students to come in increments of 20 minutes, 4 students at a time. Their safety is so important to us, so I just want to make sure, I want to tell you a little fun fact. The University of Southern Mississippi College of Nursing was established in 1967. We've kind of gone from being a college to a school to a college, and now we are a part of the College of Nursing and Health Professions, which really lends itself to the interdisciplinary research that we need to be doing. So we were excited when, during the reorganization, we added other healthcare professionals to our ranks so that we might together work to create a better Mississippi. But it was established in 1967 thanks to the visionary thinking of a diploma program faculty at Mercy Hospital, College of Nursing in Vicksburg, Mississippi. This courageous group, led by Sister Mary Remigus, known as Elizabeth C. Harkins, responded to the American Nurses Association position statement in 1965 that nursing education should be placed under the auspices of degree-granting institutions. Dr. Harkins was the first dean of the School of Nursing. She retired in December 1980 and maintained an office in the school as Dean Emeritus until her death in 1997. Her portrait is on display on the 3rd floor in the Dean's Suite, outside the Dean's Suite in the nursing building, to remind faculty and students of all that she accomplished. She had to work diligently to get the money to open the school. And so she really did what we asked our students to do, and that's what we asked them to be a voice in the politics. And I know sometimes politics has a dirty word, but in nursing, health policy is so essential, and we need to be at the table. We believe in it so much that we have a health policy course in our curriculum. And so she had to bring together a lot of different people and raise the funds to start this nursing program. She definitely was a visionary at the time. Some things you might want to know about our program. I'd like for you to know the pass rate, the NCLEX pass rate. That's the national exam that all our students take at the end. I want you to know what our pass rate has been, and I printed this off on small, so if you see me squinting, I am at that age now where this is much clearer to me than up close. In 2019, 152 out of 154 students passed, giving us a 98.7 NCLEX pass rate. In 2018, 182 out of 184 of our students passed NCLEX, giving us a 98.9%. In 2017, we had 154 out of 162 take the NCLEX and pass. That was a 95.06% pass rate. 2016, we had 156 out of 162 pass with a 96.3 pass rate. And all the way back to 2015, we had 163 out of 166 pass the NCLEX pass rate with a 98.19%. So your students are graduating from a university that has a very high NCLEX pass rates, and that is one of the best ways that you measure the effectiveness of the program. Haley. Next we have Haley Erickson. seems like we're still one ahead of our game, which is a good thing. We want to make sure our students have plenty of time and we can socially distance. I want you to know that your faculty really care about your students. And I take the time to tell you this because I know sometimes when they go home and they talk about a test or they talk about grades, perhaps we're not always put in the best light. But I work with the faculty and have worked with them for 8 years. And I was faculty until I became the director. I'm still faculty, but I don't get to teach as much. But I want you to know that your faculty are committed and passionate about teaching. They too had to overnight pivot online. I had never heard of Teams or Zoom. I had done Skype. So we had to learn a lot. We had to put everything online. We had to have Zoom meetings and team meetings, and we had to learn how to send a link, and we had to learn how to monitor, and it's just surprising. And those apps have changed repeatedly during this process. And so I do want to take time to thank the faculty for all that they've done during this time. They've continued to go to clinical with your students, so they've put themselves at risk. And in addition to our faculty whose names I called, we always use adjunct faculty. We can't do it without them. And I want to thank our adjunct faculty for being with our students and for being in clinical with them, because our clinical component is such an essential component. That's where our students take the theory and the didactic that they've learned, and that's where they apply it. That's kind of where the rubber meets the road. And so I do want to take the time to thank the faculty for that. They have gone above and beyond. They have done multiple test reviews before and after test. They have given study guides when that is not normally our practice. They have recorded lectures so students could listen to them again, or if students had to miss, they had them on record so they could hear them again, or they could hear them for the first time. They put up PowerPoints, they put up every kind of help possible. We've done everything that we could as a school to help our students because they are the reason that we're here. Our students are very important to us. Their safety is important to us. It was huge when we went back to clinical. We were a little concerned because when COVID and the pandemic started, we were asked to leave the clinical settings, but we also at that point said we don't know enough about COVID and we need to make sure that our students are safe. And we are learning more and more, so we are more comfortable with, but continue to practice safe distancing and masking with our students at all times. We even were one of the first schools that had our students goggle in clinical because we looked at some of the CDC guidelines and realized that that gave them an extra bit of protection, and we wanted to ensure that your students were protected. I know that you know that they're going to be walking into quite a challenge. I don't know if you saw on the news today, but the CEO of UMMC had a news conference and said, we are stretched thin. We do have a few ICU beds, but our med-surg floors is full. We can't take any more med-surg patients. And she begged everybody to mask and social distance and to be very choosy in the activities that they attend because we are stretched very, very thin. So your students, when they get out and they are nurses, they may need a listening ear when they encounter taking care of so many patients with COVID and when they have to encounter death or multiple deaths for the first time. So I encourage you to be that listening ear, but don't let them get discouraged about nursing. Tell them to hang in there. It will get better. They are learning to be a nurse at one of the most crucial times in history. They need them so greatly on the units. Those nurses are tired. Just know that we want to continue to be in touch with our students. We want you to come back. We do have a master's program for nurse practitioners. We have a dual program for nurse practitioner and for psych mental health, a DNP in that, and that is a huge need. And especially in the pandemic, we've seen a lot of increase in mental health issues. So that is a great next step. We also have a PhD program, and we have a DNP program. We also have a CRNA program, which is your Certified Registered Nurse Anesthetist. We are the only one in the state. I will tell you that a lot of our students choose to come back to our program. We are very excited that our students feel prepared. Very much a large percentage of our students go back for a higher degree, and we are so proud when they choose Southern Miss as their master's or higher degree when they want to come back. I do want you to know some other things that we have in the School of Nursing that we are so very proud of. We have a simulation center that really is one of the best in the state, and we are in the process of getting our simulation center certified. You have to go through an awful lot to be able to do that. We are currently collecting data when our students do simulation. We are putting policies and procedures in place. We are putting all our scenarios on templates. I know some of this may not make a lot of sense to you, but what that means is we want the best. And so we're willing to do all of this extra work for our simulation center to be certified in just a few years. And so we are collecting data. It's never good enough just to be enough. So we're always seeing ways that we can improve. And so we have been doing research study to see if the new method of debriefing that we're using is helping our students critically think and improve how they perform in clinical practice. There is such a thing as nurse think. Nurses think very differently. You're going to see that in your student and in your graduate. And now they're going to go into Walmart and they're going to notice if someone has swollen ankles. They're going to notice if someone walks different. They're going to just notice so many things. And so we just want you to know that you should be very proud of your graduate, not because they can diagnose in Walmart. That's not what I meant by that. But they've changed. They're forever going to be a nurse. Part of the pinning ceremony is that pin is putting on the nurse so that we can go and perform as an ethical, safe, qualified nurse. You might be interested in, obviously some of our students have gotten a little behind, so I am not rambling, but I am letting you, I don't want you to think I'm holding up time for the students. What I do want to do while we do have this time is to share with you the wonderful programs that we have at USM. And so I think we have, okay. Alexandra? Now we have Alexandra Fava. We now have Shelby Freeman. We now have Allison Hennessy. Something that's also the first time is that our students usually always wear their regalia, but we do that because they will have their regalia for graduation. They don't have their regalia this year because their graduation has been postponed until May. I do hope that you all will choose to attend the graduation in May. There's no reason not to celebrate then. We do want you to return. You will always be a part of the Eagle family. So it's unusual for us to see our students with makeup and hair done and looking so nice. They clean up very nice. So I have Natalie Erlon. I'm getting a thumbs up. Yes, I have the right person. We now have Carly Graham. Carly won an award for the National's Dean's List, as well as she was also inducted into Sigma Theta Tau International. Next, we have Alora Houston. Alora won an award for the National Collegiate of Nursing Award, and she too was inducted into the Sigma Theta Tau International. Next, we have Christopher Jackson. So it looks like we're a little ahead again. I thought this might happen in live stream, but we still so wanted to celebrate with our students. We did put it to them for a vote, and our students overwhelmingly wanted a face-to-face pinning ceremony. And for the faculty, again, as I said, this is such a sacred moment where we pass on the torch, where we literally help them put on the character, put on the profession of nursing, so to speak. And now they'll be a nurse 24/7. They'll never stop being a nurse, which is kind of what my Walmart reference is that even when you're not in the hospital, you'll still be looking for and thinking of ways to manage your patients, even if they're not your patients. Again, I do want to be mindful of the different programs that we have. We do have, I want you to know how many students we have. So we admit twice a year. And we have over double what we usually can admit. That's how competitive the University of Southern Mississippi School of Professional Nursing Practice is. That the highest number we can take is 120 at a time, and even that's becoming difficult because clinical sites are becoming difficult to find. Certain hospitals on certain floors are asking us to limit the numbers of our students. So all of these are challenges that we had before COVID. But now you can imagine with COVID going on how much more difficult that was for us to find clinical placements. And our students did such a great job in the preceptorship. We are so proud of them. They were able to get a lot of skills done. They were able to learn to manage patients. We only had positive comments from the facilities that they were at. And they were the first group that we've done the preceptor model with in quite so many years. When I came 8 years ago was the last year that we had done it. So we are so very proud of that. I wish I could ask you all to tell me some things about yourself and tell me things about your students that we don't know. As I was saying, they are cleaning up very nice. That's not how we normally see them in class or on Zoom. And that really has been, we did have to limit our classroom because of, again, the COVID restrictions. We have an auditorium that holds 124 seats, and we could only put in 34.8 students, a calculation in there. So we couldn't give all our courses online because we simply didn't have the space to do that with such limited restrictions. We did do an intercession for the first time, so we had a lot of firsts, and I'm proud of that. We did an intercession with 338, which is our first real hospital clinical experience, and we did an intercession with health assessment. And the students chose to come in early and spend 3 weeks prior to the start of the semester, so they didn't get much of a break. And we had such good outcomes from those 2 intercessions. Our students really enjoyed that. So we have had to think outside of the box and try new and different things to ensure that our students got the quality education that we want to give them and that they deserve. So I'm so very proud. We had faculty create courses and convert a 15-week course into a 3-week course, and to plan that and get it through. And do you know that we have not had one student contract COVID from clinical or class? It's been outside activities and weekend activities, and we are very, very proud of that, especially since when the students would go to clinical, they knew they could not take care of COVID-positive patients. This is the students not in preceptorship. And invariably we found that repeatedly we kept finding that they would test the patient at the end of the day and they would be positive, and our students had taken care of that patient. But because they were so excellent in following their PPE and keeping their mask on and keeping their goggles on, they protected themselves and those that they cared for and those that they cared for. So we are so very proud of our students. We really are. When you look down at this list and you see how many received awards, and you see how many were inducted into Sigma Theta Tau, and you think about all of the challenges that they had in COVID and transitioning to an online learning, even though we did try to take what we consider typically the hardest course and put it face-to-face, it was still difficult because of our large classes. We couldn't house everybody at one time. We had to alternate, half be online, half be offline. So really the faculty and the students together have made this successful. We got through last semester, we have this semester, and we've made it through, and I'm so very proud of each of these students. Nursing school is always difficult, but in the middle of a pandemic, it was made more difficult. Little things that we wouldn't think about that did impact our students. We've had some of our students that had COVID, and they had to quarantine, and they did great. They kept up with their studies. They were staying in touch with us and keeping up with us, and they really did a great job. I'm very proud of this group of students. I want you to think about if your clinical was cut in half and then you have to immediately go into clinical. You have, 8 weeks to get it done after you've had this enormously complex and difficult course in their preceptorship, and they did it. You should be congratulating them and be so very, very proud of them. It took a lot of resilience in order for them to be successful in the middle of this pandemic. And I know in my class, we had ethics last semester, and we talked about COVID, and with this particular group, I remember in January we were talking about the fact that we often don't think about diseases that happen around the world. And so, like Ebola didn't bother us. Well, I'm not gonna say it didn't bother us, but we didn't think as much of it because it was somewhere else. And I remember in class, the students did not really, because they're studying so hard, hadn't really kept up with the news, and they were, saying, well, what is the coronavirus? And that was in January. And then, we had to go all online in March. And so in that short amount of time, their lives were changed, and everything that they knew had to change, and that was very difficult for them. And yet they continued to do it, and they thrived and grew. I was so proud when Gage was doing his speech. I thought that he was such a good representative of this class and how they understand their purpose, their commitment, and their passion. It looks like I have Kelsey Jones. Kelsey? Okay. We now have Kelsey Jones. We now have Brianna Kelly, who was also inducted into Sigma Theta Tau. Their chords do all have different meanings. The Sigma Theta Tau has a stole and a chord, so you will notice that our students that were inducted some of them are choosing to wear that. And then some have so many chords, I can't tell you all what they are. Those chords represent hard work, because that's above and beyond basic nursing. And that's one of the things I've been so proud of, is our students go above and beyond. They've taken on leadership roles. Victoria? No. Mary Helen?
Now you gotta go up.
Haley?
Yeah.
All right, sorry, Haley. Haley Kinnett. Sigma Theta, she was inducted into Sigma Theta Tau induction. I moved my finger, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So make sure everybody knows this is Haley Kinnett.
Yes.
Now we have Victoria Nekich. Now we have Mary Helen McGee. She was also inducted into Sigma Theta Tau International. You're fine, don't rush. I want you to enjoy every minute of this. quite some time. Did I get the last name correct, Olivia?
It's Miriam.
Olivia Mario. I stand corrected, thank you. As I was saying, our students do take on leadership roles. We have many students who are in sororities, fraternities, or in other community activities. We have many of the presidents or the vice presidents of the sororities or fraternities in our nursing school, and they do that in addition. And so that really speaks to the students' ability to manage time and to do well. We've also had athletes. We've had soccer students. We've had cheerleaders. We've had, I'm trying to think of some other ones. Maria, can you think of any?
There's been golf. Members of
Golf.
the team,
Okay,
but mostly soccer.
but mostly soccer. That's what I was thinking as well. So we're so very proud of all our students because you know what? They're going to go on and be leaders in nursing. I think for the majority of our students, this is not their last degree. They'll be back in school even though if you ask them about 3 weeks ago if that was true, it would be no. But I do believe that we'll find a lot of them want to go on and receive their graduate degrees. We expect great things out of this group. For a group that has endured so much, we know that they will then assume and step up and take leadership positions in nursing, and that's so important. Speaking of that, Dr. Michelle Story, who is our new dean, she was installed for the semester, actually started in the summer. She has been invited to serve on an American Nurses Association, which is a national board. And it's so important for nurses to serve on boards and for our voices to be heard. And there's an initiative about that. And you may say, well, these novice nurses won't serve on boards. No, but they can serve on the committees that look at the new software on how I'm going to chart, or look at how the PPE works, or what about the IV pumps, or the vital signs, or all the different machines and all the different things that are happening. We're training your graduate, your student, to step up into that leadership role. That's one of the big differences between an associate degree nursing program and a baccalaureate nursing program. Just a little personal note, I was an associate degree nursing at first. I graduated from Florida Junior College at Jacksonville, and then I went back to get my BSN at UMC, and I did the RN to BSN program, and when we are through with all our people that will be attending live, I will lead our RN to BSN graduates. And so then I went immediately to get my master's at UMC because I was so enjoying the teaching component in my RN to BSN program. And so our students will continue on and they'll grow and they'll be leaders. So that you'll know, I did receive my PhD from the University of Southern Mississippi with an emphasis in ethics, and that's why I enjoy teaching so much. And we've learned so much as we've looked at the ethical implications from COVID, and it's been a wonderful, rich experience for our nurses, and I hope that we've helped prepare them for some of the ethical issues that they will be facing, that they may not make the decision, but they will have to endure the decision. So they'll have to be with the patient once that decision is made. So it looks like we're a little behind, or we're ahead, one or the other. I do want to take this time again to remind you that our students have had to follow community standards. At all times, they've had to be masked, social distance, and they had to self-monitor. The problem with this at this age, they're rather asymptomatic, so sometimes we didn't know until they tested for some other reason that they were positive for COVID. But they have done those community standards, and I've been so proud. When I would get out of my car in the morning, I would see students walking across the parking lot with their mask on, and their diligence in following the PPE has kept our faculty and our students safe and healthy during this time, and I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of their passion. Dr. Burns was telling me that in their leadership course, and that's where I was going with what separates an associate degree program and nursing program, one of those important pieces is the leadership component. And she and Dr. Newton teach the leadership class. And there's one other, is there? Or is it just the two of you this time?
It's both of us, yes.
Okay.
Just the two of us, yes.
All right. And they were telling their story. So they were using narratives, which is a wonderful way to teach others and share your stories. And they had both of the professors teaching that course shared with me that these students had such rich experiences in preceptorship, either learning what they wanted to do or learning what they did not want to do, which is possible. But again, that's one of the significant things that set us apart is our teaching these students the importance of leadership. Health policy is another piece, and that's teaching them to have a voice to understand. And you, again, I think they're not going to have much of a voice, but they do because they can be members of nursing organizations, and we've already told them about that. We also have community. We do a lot with community. They learn so much about seeing not just the patient, but the patient in a larger context in the community. That's another piece that we have. And I think another significant course that we have that's very different is what we call evidence-based practice. And that's where the students learn how to read research articles and to take that information and to then apply it into their practice. And that's what's appropriate at baccalaureate level. We do have some students who are in the honors program and they do some research. But for our graduating seniors, it's an important piece that they know that they can go to the journals, they can go to the nursing magazines, they can look to see what's going on, and then they can be a voice to implement the change that's needed on their floor. And there is so much available with COVID. I know you all are sick of me talking about the pandemic, and we're all sick of COVID. We're sad for this auditorium being empty. We're sad that only a few faculty could be here. We want to be with our students. We have missed them. We have missed the meetings in the hall. We have missed after class meetings when a lot of caring and concern and teaching went on. There's a big difference when somebody's struggling and you can take them to your office and sit down side by side and look at something and really talk about it and share. And so we have missed that greatly. But I believe that they have continued to learn, and I believe our program has maintained its quality. As a matter of fact, I think we've improved in some areas. Our faculty certainly are more technologically savvy than they were when this began. But back to evidence-based research, that's an important piece, and especially with COVID and all the research studies that are coming out, we have to talk about, okay, well, this is a small one, this is a short one, this is only a small sample, but we have to take what we know and how research changes and how research impacts. When they were in the preceptorship, they learned that policies can change daily, that even last semester students learned that before we were asked to lead the clinical agencies, and we weren't asked because they don't want us there, but remember, personal protective equipment was very scarce, and so they wanted to make sure that their nurses who were caring for patients with COVID or potential had the PPE that was necessary. And so that's why our agencies had to ask us not to come for a time, and now they've welcomed us back with open arms, and we are so proud of the agencies that we do have contracts and that we do collaborate with for our students. But having that understanding of research is going to be so important because they can have a voice. How many of you noticed that CDC guidelines are now looking at decreasing the quarantine from 14 to 7 days? So we're like, well, how did that happen? So again, a lot of research has gone into that, and so it's an important piece for our students to learn, and that's one of the pieces in the ones I've listed that I'm so proud of that makes us the difference between an associate degree nurse and baccalaureate degree nurse. And I can say that because I was an associate degree nurse for 15 years before I went back to get my BSN, and I remember how that literally stretched my mind, and I had thought I was doing so great, and I learned so much more in my RN to BSN program than in my master and PhD. So our students are lifelong learners. We teach them to be lifelong learners. We teach them the importance of, even if you're not going back for a degree, that you are in the literature, that you are looking at those websites, that you are able to discern a knowledgeable website, a reputable website, from one that is not. And so they're going to have to continue to learn because nursing is ever changing. Do I have somebody coming? Amber Navarro. Next we have Abigail Petrie. Well, I thought somebody was coming, so I must be wrong. So I will continue to share with you about the rich education that your student is getting at the University of Southern Mississippi. While we know that nursing is very important, one of the things that we always say is important at the University of Southern Mississippi is the entire experience. We are proud of the University of Southern Mississippi. They've led the way in discussions on diversity and inclusion. They've led the way on thinking differently. Our university has supported the faculty with a mountain of workshops where we could improve when we were learning how to go online. They stepped up the plate. They were so very supportive. They've continued to ask us to be supportive of our students during this time. You know, life happens when you're in nursing school, and so we've continued to work with our students regarding that. So as I'm thinking, what is it as a parent you would want to know about your child's education? Know that for them to be admitted, that they have to do an excellent job. Again, because we're very competitive. To graduate means that they gave it their all. It's very difficult to graduate if you don't give it your all, and you're not studying all the time, and you're not giving up other things so that you can do well. Because it's not about learning. It's about applying. It's about being able to walk into a hospital and to be able to care for a patient and to think like a nurse and critically think in clinical reason. What am I seeing? What does it mean? What do I need to do? What can I do to help? Reagan? Now we have Reagan Ravon. Don't rush, you got all the time in the world. Your family wants to see you. It's fine, it's fine.
We're gonna be like, that's Reagan, all right. It's okay. I actually went upstairs because they told me to go
That's okay.
No, you're fine.
Thank you so much. What about
I'm going to take this time now to go over our RN to BSN graduates. I want you to know that Southern Miss does have an RN to BSN program. It is totally online. We have some of the most dedicated teachers that teach in the RN to BSN program, and we continue with consistent teachers, teachers who have an understanding of adults who need to go back to school for a higher degree. So I want to read off our RN to BSN graduate names now. So those graduating from the RN to BSN program, that means that they had an associate degree and they came back for their baccalaureate degree. And it takes a year of courses to achieve that, but we make it a very reasonable amount of hours so that our students can work full-time, many of them do, and then can get their BSN. So our RN BSN graduates are Thomas Cook, Kristen Elfring, Alexis Fiorella, Jarrell Frazier, Matthew Hammonds, Sarah Smith, Crystal West, and Raina Winstead. I believe I have another BSN student that is here now. And Lindsay? This is Lindsay Slade, and she won an award for the National Dean's List. Next, we have Caitlin Talby. Next, we have Sarah Wallbauer. Don't rush. Take all the time. Your family wants to enjoy this night. So I want to take the time, there were students that couldn't be with us because of schedules, or they had come in close contact with COVID, or they themselves may have had COVID. So I want to list off the students who were unable to attend tonight, and I will also call out the awards that they may have received. So lady, yes, I was going to say sit down. So not able to attend tonight is Lane Adams, Austin Borello, Beatrice Kraft. Beatrice Kraft won the Bates Sizemore Excellent in Maternal Child Nursing Award. Katie Crosby, Skylar Dauphine, Bailey Foster, Hunter Howell, who was a member of the Honors College. And Hunter will also be receiving a medallion from the Honors College. Honors College is a lot of work. Remember me telling you about evidence-based practice and research? So these students complete a research project in nursing school. So in addition to all that nursing school has had, in addition to the pandemic, these students completed a research project, and they have to complete it and they have to do well in class, and then they graduate with special distinction. And Hunter Howell was one of those students who is an Honors College graduate. Madison Martigue won the Jerry Bobby Morgan Award. Lacey Lundy, who is a class representative, she was inducted into Sigma Theta Tau International. She was on the National Dean's List, and she also won the Elizabeth C. Harkins Award. We have Ashton Mitchell, Jana Phillips, Nicole Salters, Justice Tosh, Kelly Wade, Elizabeth Wessler, and Madison White. So we are sorry that they could not be here today with us, but we hope, this will, so that you will know, we are going to edit and we will post this where you will have access to it so that you can have it forever of your student's special night. So that information will be forthcoming. I have one of our graduate assistants is helping us, and she's cueing me when people are walking in so that I'll know when somebody is here so that we can begin. We knew this was going to be somewhat challenging in trying to time everything just perfectly, but I honestly think this has gone wonderful. I am so proud of our students. We were talking about that they chose to have a face-to-face pending, and they knew that meant that there were some significant restrictions, but it was so important for them. And the School of Nursing and Professional Nursing Practice, we are special in that they're allowing us to have this opportunity, but we are being very, very careful, again, to follow our community standards. Also, I don't know how many of you are in the area, but I know Toby Barker was making an announcement, and Dr. Dobbs, our state health director, made an announcement today due to the number of cases because they are concerned that they will continue to rise. So on behalf of the School of Professional Nursing Practice, I do want to remind all of you to mask, to social distance, to avoid large gatherings. We are what will keep Mississippi safe. In doing that, the life you save may be your student, because our nurses are going into take care of COVID patients, and we haven't yet understood why some people respond very badly to it and some people don't. We've had young people contract COVID with some very difficult circumstances, and so I don't want that to happen to our students. We want them to be taken care of. Also, if you're in contact with someone, then you obviously have to quarantine, and that will make our staffing shortage worse than it is. One of the things that they sent us out today was that in just a brief survey and quick responses, there are over 1,500 nursing positions needed in the state of Mississippi. So you can see that our nurses are tired and worn, and you can see the impact that would have on our state in the care of our patients. So I'm wondering what you all are going to be doing for the holidays, and I hate that we aren't able to interact as much. I'm definitely more of an interactive person, but I hope that you will. Let me give you this, let me tell you this as I'm thinking about this. I want your students to rest for a little bit. They need to rest, they need to unwind, they need to have no responsibilities. And then after a few days of that, I need them to hit it hard and heavy. They have NCLEX practice exams that they can take, they need to study, they need to prepare for the NCLEX exam. And so to encourage them, support that, remind them of that. It's important that they pass the NCLEX and get into the nursing field right now because we need them desperately. But it is important that they study for this. And we do have a lot of material that they've been given that they still have access to. So I want you to kind of know that so you can kind of stay on just a little bit But they do need to rest some. They do. They're exhausted. They're absolutely exhausted. And I know they're so tired, and this has been an extra burden, going to school in a pandemic. And so enjoy some time with them, but then kind of encourage them, gently nudge them to get into the books and into their exams that they can practice and the test questions that they can take. The more test questions they take, the better they will do on this particular test. We do have a few more students coming, and bear with us as they come. Again, we knew it was going to be difficult to time just everything perfectly. But it does look like some more students are beginning to arrive, so I will be able to call some names again. We will be having the same kind of schedule next semester for our students. Okay, that looks like I have somebody coming. Anna. We have Anna Walters. You all can't see it, but I can. We have them Purelling their hands as they walk in. They're all sanitized. We're again trying to keep them safe. We next have Carson Ware. We next have Hannah Riff. Yes, they'll have you. And last but not least, Rachel Mallett. I want to take just a moment and thank you, families. I know this was hard for you not to show up and try to sneak in and try to be here with your student. And that was one of the things that we had to insist on, to be safe, to be able to have this spinning. And I was so worried, and you did fabulous. Thank you, parents and family, for following that direction. I thank our students because they did as well. I think our first live stream performance went well. This does conclude our recognition program. Thank you for joining us tonight as we honored our outstanding graduates. Please remember to wear your mask, social distance, and follow the holiday guidelines set forth by the CDC. Wishing you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from the School of Professional Nursing Practice. Good night.